why, which of course means Run Pure Sports viewers are shipping on a Showdown slate. Last Thursday, DFS superstar Whistles Go Rue joined JSU and BigT on the Thursday Night Football Showdown show to talk about the slate, and he hit the nail on the head with a killer hot take.
I love the play of Taysom as captain, but put Dallas's defense also there. And I know that seems kind of crazy, and most people would think, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But can't you imagine one running touchdown, one throwing touchdown, but then a pick six for Dallas tonight?
His recommendation to pair Taysom Hill with the Dallas defense, along with JSU and Big T's call to pair him with Deontay Harris, was the winning formula to ship Showdown tournaments.
I remember tons of slates where the studs like Kamara, Michael Thomas, he just wouldn't get them as involved, and some of the lesser guys he would pepper, and one of them was always Deontay Harris.
If you couldn't tell, our hosts have been on fire recently with some great calls on our premium content as well as Discord, including Holden, who has been pounding the table with Matt Breida on Thanksgiving, as well as recent Eli Mitchell and Jalen Waddle on our Up to Lock show on Sundays.
Heggy B, what do you think of Elijah Mitchell? I mean, personally, he's right at the top for me. I've got a couple lineups with Elijah Mitchell. When he plays, he gets the rock.
NBA is firing on all cylinders as well, with Bobby recommending a 1% owned 40 burger for Santi Aldama on our final countdown show Thursday night.
Is there a guy named Santi really in Bobby Goins' core from You Better Relax, Bro?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad play. If he sees 17 minutes, they're kind of hurt. He's 0.94 fantasy point per minute play. He's a power forward. It's more of a large field thing.
Congratulations to all of our members on their huge wins, including E. Cunningham with his 560K hit on NFL Showdown, and Matt Ryan 858 with his 100K shipper on NBA. And huge shout out to our guy Tambo for coming in second place in DraftKings King of the Beach tournament. Tambo shipped 150K in week 13 with his Gardner Minshew lineup, so big congrats to him. If you are not subscribed yet, what in the heck are you doing? Join today with 25% off your first month with the promo code RPSHeater25. Make sure you check back soon for a huge announcement, and of course, Run Pure.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood show. We are breaking down this 3-game slate. Hit the like, hit the subscribe on the video, and hit it now, because I'll tell you one thing, man, this might be a little bit of a quick show. And if we don't get the likes where they're supposed to be, which we haven't picked the number yet, man, we might have to pull that plug pretty quick. But we got a hoop here. We have DC. I'm going to go to DC first, and I'm going to hit you with the GM, because I know you were on Twitter saying you love seeing the timeline, everyone saying GM to each other. So GM to you, DC, how is your day?
GA, right? Good afternoon, I think is where we're at now in time of the day. But yeah, the GM thing, I don't know. I do like what normally you wake up, you check your phone, you go on Twitter, and it's just everyone saying GM to each other. The NFT bros gets old. But hey, coming off a very strong night of NBA, was very excited about yesterday's slate. Turned out well. I needed 5 more points from DSJ to ship the $200 3 max. Didn't quite get there. Finished, I think, 5th or 6th. So that was fun. I mean, I know a ton of members had good nights. Charlotte and Embiid, obviously, that was kind of a game stack to get to. So good night of NBA last night, and tonight. Well, there are 3 games. You can say that. 3 NBA games to talk about. Not the best, but hey, we're here, and we'll try to break it all down.
Yep, 3-game slate, but there is money to be won. GM to you too, Hoop, or GA, however you want to call it. How is your day? How is it with the kids not here? How is it with the carpet all maybe situated? I guess you can give an update on the carpet as well, because the people love to know that.
The carpet's laid. It's beautiful. It's great. Now, right now, the wife is vacuuming the carpet, and it's quite annoying. So I'm going to have to get on Mrs. Hoop for, she needs to change her vacuuming schedule a little bit. 4:45 Eastern time is not the best time to vacuum. So I'm going to have to get on Mrs. Hoop about the vacuum time. In terms of like the GM and the Twitter stuff, I mean, these people on Twitter, these NFT dudes and all this stuff, like, they're the biggest followers like of all time. Like there's nothing innovative about these people. Like one person will start doing that, and then like all of them, like little sheep, just line up right behind and do like the exact same thing that the leaders do of that community. It's like the saddest thing of all time. Like they could go on every morning and say, I just took a dump. And then the next guy in the morning would say, I took a dump. I took a dump. I took a dump. I mean, these guys are like the ultimate followers, and it's like sad to see. The GM thing is just like so damn annoying, and they all do it. I agree with DC. It's just a full disaster, but like I'm a grumpy old man, so there's no surprise. That's my take.
Hoop out here being a boomer, as the people like to say.
But it's true though, is it? Don't you find? I mean, is it 3 for 3, or do you like the GMs?
I'm not huge on the GM. I will say.
How could you? What's the argument for liking the GMs? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, Mangone battled us in the opening. True. I mean, he had a different approach, so I figured
I'm not
he'd
going to battle you here. I don't think I've ever tweeted the GM. Maybe I'll find a way to do something funny with the GM tomorrow. But it's just not. I don't know. I don't get
those
it.
Guys they're all like that community, and I mean, I own some NFTs, actually, regretfully so. But
I sold mine. Hope I got out of the game like a couple weeks ago.
The DraftKings thing was sad because I thought I had like a lot of hope. Like what they've done is, as soon as I saw that Saw release, and I know Mangone, you know a little bit more about it and like the reasons behind it, but it just totally diluted it. I mean, they totally diluted their product. It was a tough scene.
Yeah, and then when DK finally like released like what you get for having the preseason access pass, it's like
nothing.
It's like you can buy like a Simone Biles like 8-bit cartoon, for like $50. Like the problem is, it's just these things are just so.
The more they come out, the less valuable they all come.
Yeah.
Well, they did just come out with their NFL ones. I think they're doing some partnerships
next year, but I think that's going to tank further. Maybe the ones they already released. It seems like.
I don't know. I don't know what it'll do. Maybe it helps it. Maybe it hurts it.
I don't know what I'm doing. So don't take my advice on the NFTs. I'll say that.
Me neither. I mean, I still own 100. I still own 100 Tiger Woods carbon and platinum ones. I actually did the signed ones and the more expensive ones I did get out in a pretty good time. I was able to make a little bit, but I'm going to be stuck on the ones that I think if you own DK NFTs right now, do not plan on getting your money back. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it changes out. Does it go against your 1099 too? Like maybe
I hope actually, it'd be a nice little tax offset, like the NFT losses.
I'm not exactly sure, but And DC, here's the suggestion. Someone said to me, tweet out a GM with a pic of my feet. How's that sound tomorrow? Just a picture of my feet with the GM. DC, you think everyone else will follow suit?
I'd like to see a lot of people do just a picture of their morning dump, GM, and then a picture of their dump, just to own the GMers.
Don't tag me in if you do that, people out there. Don't tag me in that. I don't want to be involved.
Oh man, good times. A lot of fun. We got a lot of time. I don't know if there's anyone else in the chat that wants to say anything, or we have other conversations we want to have.
We should just talk for an hour and never mention the slate and just sign off.
Yeah, that works.
Hey, listen, that could definitely happen. I don't know who would say in the chat how long it would take for someone to be like, hey, get onto the slate, but we'll get onto the slate. Before we do that, again, subscribe to the video, helps out a ton. We got 240 of you guys watching. So we want to get those likes up. And then also want to talk about the members never win. Now, I don't know if we have the graphics, Simon, but I know on the show before we didn't do each this person. We just did like a giant combined one where it was, what was the number? Was it 2.2 mil in members over the past week?
Yeah, it was huge. So the guy, Jeremy, who does our newsletters, went back and checked all, and that's just people that shared screenshots. There's clearly other people that didn't tag us or didn't put them in our Discord, but from what was tagged on Twitter and posted our Discord, 2.25 million in winnings in the last 7 days was absolutely insane. And we talked about on the previous show, there's like the $500,000 hit, but just a lot of 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50, just big stuff.
Hopefully they didn't spend all that 2.2 million on DK NFTs after winning.
Yeah, I actually just pulled up the lobby for the what is the shit that they've released? This is Simone Biles, a mortal statue. Like, what is this shit?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's unfortunate. Maybe they'll I don't know. Maybe they'll fire someone before the start of the year, and we'll get some new management. When the store says new management, maybe DK Marketplace will say under new management, we'll have it in better shape. But we'll have to see. And man, something else that should be under new management, DC, is this slate, right? Because you don't like this slate. You said to me, this slate stinks. It's terrible.
It is.
We shouldn't talk about it. But there's money to be won, right? There's an edge to be had. Like. Just throw Boban in your lineups, right? Boban, at least they'll have a fun time rostering him, right? I mean, what is the edge we can find on this slate, DC? What do you got for me? Anything so far?
I don't know. That's why I don't like it. You seem to be convinced there's a giant edge on this slate, so I'm looking forward to the Travis Mangone takes here.
DC, me and you get to sit back, absorb all this knowledge, and just print tonight. It's like a guaranteed printer for Mangone. I can't wait.
I'll tell you what, I'm hitting up the core page today. I'm finding Mangone's 5 core plays and plugging them in there and going from there. Because
you see, I'm not worthy of a core play. I'm on the cash chart.
Oh yeah, I'm not worthy either. But
and I'm on the FanDuel cash chart. The FanDuel cash chart, right? So,
okay. FanDuel cash games. That's where I'm putting my money tonight. Here we go.
Yep. Load up on those FanDuel cash games, right? Make sure to get in those 3-mans. Make sure to get in those head-to-heads. Find the lobby. Get your. I remember back in the day, the K Cannon sniper start sniping the $1 and $2 head-to-head.
That is a great. That's one of the iconic stories of DFS. Tell the story so people know what you're talking about.
I can tell it. Go.
I told this story the other day actually because it was
such a good. Yeah.
They're like they haven't been in the game for two. They've only been around for 2 or 3 years, so we went through some really good stories. So I used to play when I would play the lower stakes stuff, right? And this was back when I was really just starting out, and really trying to figure out. And I always loved college football, right? College football was one of my favorites. The edge in college football was so big back then. It's still big now. I think it's still pretty good, but it was so massive then. News you couldn't even find. There were no such thing as projections. There was a few sites doing content for it, and I'd post my head-to-heads up. And again, I wasn't playing massive stakes. I was playing a lot lower. I'd be like, man, it's, I thought I had a good college football week, but this K Cannon dude took $50 or $100 in $1 and $2 head-to-heads for me. And I talked to someone else. Yeah, this guy's taking $1 and $2 head-to-heads for me too. And then everyone's like, dude, you just post the game and it's gone. And it just snipes them out there instantly. And I was on the snipe list. So I had to try and battle with a really good player. And it was very frustrating.
He had built a script or a bot, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a tech guy, that whenever a game was posted from anyone outside of a few names that he excluded, he would just automatically get the game. So just getting, all the Fishman Gone money. He's just taking you down.
It was in multiple sports, right?
It wasn't just that.
But
hockey. College football is
he was a big hockey guy. Hockey, you would get them all too. So yeah.
College was where I noticed it, but then I saw NBA. I saw it happening quick one day, and I was like, but college it was specific. So I was like, my games don't fly like this. And
it used to be the Wild West out there. There's that, and then there are people. There used to be no max amount of entries you could put in a tournament on DraftKings, right? You could just play however many you wanted. And they also didn't have the uploading CSV anywhere on the site, but you could still somehow do it, right? People were making putting in 1,000 lineups with the CFV that wasn't available to anyone else unless
unless you knew how to do it on your own.
I got one more story I want to bring up, but before we do that, I want to just call out Pensac. You can't go in the chat and say Mangone's on my snipe list when once you got to even with me in head-to-heads, you know what you did? Oh, I'm no longer playing head-to-heads. I'm done. You can't say that, okay? So I'm calling you out. If you want to play me tonight, feel free. I'll send the free head-to-head again, and we can play it for our normal amount. But you can't say that, Pensac. You're the one who backed down from the challenge. So it's just very simple. Hoop, I wanted to ask you about this. You've been playing longer than I think me and DC. DC might know these days. I don't know these days. Can you tell people about FanDuel chat? FanDuel chat was the interesting.
Yeah, I was playing during FanDuel chat days.
I think me and DC were on similar times, but FanDuel used to have just a chat in the bottom right corner of their website, and it was just open. If you were signed on to FanDuel, you could go in there and type anything. So if I won't go on there and type, say Hoop 2410 says blah blah blah. Now at the beginning when I first started playing, there wasn't many people on there. You could just kind of type whatever, and it would show up. Well, as they started getting more and more popular, you talk about, you go into our Discord and people, complain about the tilters. You go on NFL Sunday when those games kicked off. This thing was just.
You couldn't even read a damn thing.
Couldn't read a damn thing. Could not read a damn thing. Eventually, they realized that it wasn't a good look and got rid of it. But the FanDuel chat was hilarious.
I'm guessing, Hoop, you didn't spend too much time typing stuff in the FanDuel chat.
No. You talk about a tilt fest. I mean, holy shit. If you were having a bad day and you wanted to feel better about yourself, just hop into that FanDuel chat.
Yeah, I miss the old FanDuel chat days. And Pensac hit me, Pensac hit me with this. He goes, I'll play you one more time to see who can get
Ooh,
up.
there you go.
I mean, sure, it's nice, but then that person just.
I don't know if he wants to on this slate. I mean, this is your slate. I mean, you've planted your flag on this one, so you might want to wait to.
I'm gonna be so disappointed in Mangone if he doesn't chip on this slate. He's all excited. He's been great. He put in 80 hours of work today already. He's ready to go.
I'm a grinder.
Got his 80 hours in.
80 hours of work in one day. You just got to grind it out there.
If you have 3 monitors, you can triple. You just each one is an hour per day.
I mean, listen, this is my 3rd show today, DC. How many guys have done 3
shows? Jeez.
Just I mean, one was NFL, but still, we're putting the work in over here at Run Pure. And it's going to be an interesting slate. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this one. I know you aren't as excited, but I think as we dive in, we can get there. And let's dive into the first game because Kay Fallick's in the chat and he says, we got like 90 minutes of the Up to Lock show, so get moving, guys.
He's not in there on a 3-game slate. He's not in there, is he?
Oh, he is. He's just committing to the bit.
Yeah, he's locked in now. I mean, I'm still waiting on these charts. I mean, last year, he was like printing these things off, and the sample size is big enough now. I mean, where are the charts?
I could use some charts today, man. I need to find that edge. So get him in there, Kay Fallick.
Yep, for sure. Let's dive in though. Let's talk about this slate. The Mavericks and the Nets. That is the first one up. And Hoop, I'm going to go right to you because you love roster and Porzingis. We believe he is going to play today. Luka should be back and the stars are out, right? Harden's on the slate. KD's on the slate. Luka, DeJounte Murray, you can put in that star class. Julius Randle, Jason Tatum, Westbrook, LeBron, Davis. There's a lot of guys you can roster. I think there's some really good studs in this game. It's all supposed to be a close one. And I think that there's some really good options here. I don't know exactly which star I'm playing yet in this game. My lean is I think the Harden and Kevin Durant are the guys that I want to go to because if you look, their minutes have been so strong. I mean, I think you're going to get some really nice looks for them. And then I don't know what the Mavericks are going to do with their rotation. That's one thing I'm trying to figure out because if you play Porzingis at the 4 and you play Powell at the 5, I mean, what are they going to do? Put Dorian Finney-Smith on Kevin Durant? And then, there could also be mismatches at times where KD just absolutely roasts these guys. I mean, it just seems like a really good spot. So, Hoop, I'll go to you. Talk about Porzingis here. What do you think happens with these big men against this lineup with KD at the 4? And who are you looking at?
Yeah, so before I hop into that, one thing I will say, I really like the Nets as a bet here. I just think they're a much better team, and I am kind of like a Mavericks hater, so I might be a little bit biased, but I already bet a chunk on the Nets here, so I like that play. Like the -1.5. I think they beat the Mavs quite easily tonight. I think they're just a better team. And I like what they did with LaMarcus Aldridge in the starting lineup. He's been playing a lot of minutes, and this is a slate we're just kind of looking for raw points, really. Value and all that, you throw it out the window. You're looking for just raw points, and you got Aldridge 32 minutes, 34, 32 minutes the last 3 games. Double-digit shots in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. I like LaMarcus here quite a bit. 5.7K on DK, very fair. I do agree with you. In terms of spends on the slate, probably Harden or Durant as my favorite. I don't really want those Lakers guys all that much, and Luka, I don't really love them in this spot. So Harden and Durant are the 2 guys I want to spend on. On the Maverick side, it gets a little more difficult. I think my favorite play on the Mavs is probably Jalen Brunson. Fair price tag, typically going to get you in the mid 20s. He 5.2K on DK. I think that's fine. We talked about Porzingis a little bit. He's kind of priced away from most guys on the slate, the mid 7s on DK. I don't know. I don't love him all that much, but like you said, he's kind of popping in these projections, popping in optimal lineups. not ever really my favorite play. And then Luka here, expected to play. I think I prefer, Harden and Durant over him if I'm going to spend up on the slate. So it's not like the most appealing game. It's kind of crazy, but I'd have to say like LaMarcus Aldridge is my favorite play in this game, which seems a little bit weird.
LaMarcus Aldridge is a good play. I definitely like that call, and they're going to need his size, and he is 5'7". It just depends, though. What are you doing at the center position? Because, again, center, you can only play him in 2 spots. He's definitely someone that I think he's in play, but I don't know, like Podol's not a bad option, too, that you could go to as a center. Like center, it's a bit tough on this slate. So that's something obviously to talk about. DC, we'll head on over to you. What are you doing here with these studs? Because there's a lot to like in this game. And I think I want to get one of these guys in some of my lineups. Is it Harden? Is it KD? Is it even Luka? Because Luka's one of those guys where everyone says, oh, I don't know what the numbers say, but like, let's play him when Porzingis is out. But it always feels like he needs Porzingis to kind of help get those double teams off him a bit, even though he sees a really high usage rate.
Yeah, to me, Porzingis doesn't affect Luka that much. I mean, they just play completely different roles at this point in their career. Where maybe rebounds, I think, is where Luka kind of gets a bump if Porzingis isn't in there. But so I do agree with Hoop and you. I think Mangone, where I think Harden and Durant, I would take median projection, the floor, whatever. I would take both those guys over Luka. I do think Luka has the higher ceiling than either of those two guys, right? Because I think Luka's got to be the one that if I'm with you, Hoop. I think Brooklyn wins this game, but no guarantee, obviously. Yeah. And I think Dallas's best chance to win this game is Luka has one of those triple double S games, and you just don't see really very often 60, 65 plus out of Harden and Durant, and frankly, we haven't seen it that many times from Luka either. But I do think he's more capable of just a truly massive game than those two guys. So tournaments, I wouldn't mind shifting. I think all three of those guys are pretty close, right? Luka, Harden, Durant. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's part of the reason why I don't think there's a huge edge on this slate. I just don't see much differentiation between the 3 studs in this game or the Lakers studs for that matter. So it's tough. And I do agree with you. I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge looks like a good play, maybe the best play in this game, but that says a lot about this slate too. I mean, he's 5,700, and it's not like Brooklyn's missing guys, right? Like they have Durant and Harden in there, and we're still finding LaMarcus Aldridge as our favorite play. It says a lot to me. But yeah, if you give me the studs, ranking them for a GPP perspective, I don't know about ownership, but I guess I'll take a shot maybe on Luka if we think he might be a little bit lower owned, just because the Lakers got, Westbrook, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. Obviously, they're going to share the ball, and then the Brooklyn Nets obviously have Harden and Durant. And to me, it's kind of the Luka show for Dallas. So I do kind of like that play a little bit. Value in this game, I mean, not much really, right? I don't see a lot of guys that I want to spend up or put in my lineups that are below 5K, just because you kind of know where all the usage is going to go. It's going to be the studs on both teams, Luka and Porzingis, and then Durant and Harden on the other side. Aldridge, obviously, we like a little bit, but the kind of the role players on most of these teams, they don't have very big roles. So I think I'll look probably elsewhere. Maybe the Knicks Spurs game, second game of the night, I think has more potential for the cheaper players to pop off for a random big game. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. And I guess, kind of rambling there, but that's just thoughts on the slate overall.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I noticed with this slate is let's say you plug in Durant and Luka. From there, I don't think many people are doing that, right? Like that's something that, would you be shocked to see both them on the winner? This is a really close spread. It's also going to be a TNT game. Both teams are going to show out. What do you think of making a build that just double pays up for studs there?
Yeah, I mean, in any individual game, targeting two studs and hope you get a back and forth situation is never a bad idea. I don't think many people will pair 2 studs in this game, Luka and one of Harden and Durant. But I think that's totally fine to do in tournaments. I mean, all it's going to take is one of these other games kind of busting, and you're going to have a big leg up on the competition. So I think that's definitely a lineup approach that you can take in GPPs.
Yep, for sure. DC, any final thoughts on this game?
No, I just have questions for you, man. Going where are you going with Durant, Harden, Luka? You're the one that loves the slate so much, so rank them for us. Tell me who to play. I don't know who to play.
There you go. Okay, so I would say.
Well, hang on. Let me get my notepad out. This is like notepad worthy. Come on. What do we got?
All right, so let me just look. Well, I actually had an idea real quick. Let me do this real quick, and then I'll for sure give you the final answer. Give me 2 seconds. And cool. Okay. So I kind of think, so looking at this slate, I think a lot of people I think Tatum's the clear, obvious guy that a lot of people are going to go to. Now you could go to both, but I kind of think I really like the route of going to Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is a really good spend up option, or Harden over a Luka. So I'm going to say KD is my 1, Harden's my 2, and then Luka's my 3. The key with Harden and KD is I definitely still also like Harden, because I don't think a lot of people are going to just spend up at guard. I think you're going to see a lot of people go in this mid-tier range. So I do think that's interesting. But if Porzingis busts, which certainly Porzingis can bust, and he's going to be pretty high owned, it's probably going to be because KD is just absolutely roasting them. And I think it just could be a problem for him. I think Porzingis also is coming off of an injury, and with Porzingis coming off an injury, there's uncertainty there. And with uncertainty, and if he's going to have ownership, I think KD is the better play. So I'll go KD, Harden, and then Luka. And as a guy that you could maybe splash in your lineups as a dart that can have a big game, I like Patty Mills a little bit as a value at 4.8. He's one of those guys on these slates when it's stars and scrubs. He has a really nice ceiling. Like, would you rather play a Dorian Finney-Smith at 4.3, or would you rather play, Patty Mills, compared to some of these other guys, like these Spurs guards, right? Like these Spurs guards can easily bust. And there's a lot of Spurs guards that are going to be played. And that's a good transition over to this next game where we're going to have to be considering some Spurs. And I think DeJounte Murray is a good guy to spend up on, but I think a lot of people are going to spend up on him compared to these net studs that we talked about. DeJounte Murray is definitely in play against the Knicks, and it is a back-to-back. So that's where Popovich comes into play. Popovich could easily mess with some rotations. Let's say the Knicks get out to a 10-0 lead. Here comes that Popovich hockey line change, which, man, I just see a lot of Spurs being, rostered tonight. And I think Total's got a good price tag. Keldon Johnson has a good price tag. Lonnie Walker has a good price tag. You can make a case Derek White's in play. DeJounte Murray, just so many Spurs are being played. I don't think it's the night on a 3-game slate to just throw 4 or 5 in your lineup. You can definitely limit it. Hoop, what do you think of the Spurs here in this spot?
Yeah, I'm always hesitant with the Spurs side. I mean, that's just something, us DFS players have become accustomed to over the years. Just a lot of times don't know what you're going to get. I like the trusted pieces here. I like Pirtle. I think he's a fine spend, just very safe option. I always talk about a safe option with a relatively high floor. I mean, he's going to probably get you around 30 fantasy points, and he can get up to 40 on occasion too. So really like Pirtle. DeJounte Murray is just a guy that I think you play in tournaments on most slates. Tonight is no different on a 3-game slate. Outside of that, I'm not messing with a ton. I think you can do Lonnie Walker if you need to, but you don't have to. He's 3.4K. Derek White, I think, is a little bit interesting. I'd keep him in my player pool, but not a ton of interest. So Pirtle is definitely my favorite on the Spurs side. On the Knicks side, pretty interesting. Julius Randle at 9.1K, I think, is a really good option. Evan Fournier has been playing more minutes, 32 and then 36, 4.7K on DK. And his game kind of sets up pretty well there with the threes. RJ Barrett, 5.3K, Burke, 6.7. I think there's a lot of options here. On this Knicks side, Randall, probably my favorite, a little bit cheaper than those other guys, a little bit cheaper than Durant and Harden, $1,500 cheaper really than that next tier. So leaves you some lineup flexibility if you go to a guy like Randall. So definitely like him. So Randall and Pirtle, definitely my favorite two here in this game.
Yeah, I like Randall a little bit too as a spend up at 9.1K. You can play Porzingis at 7.6 or Randall at 9.1. I think Randall, if this game does stay close, Randall's going to have to be a part of it. Now, the one issue is this matchup is definitely not the easiest one against the Spurs. I mean, if they go a little bit bigger, it can be tough for them. So, DC, I'll shift on over to you. It's a 210.5 total, and people are going to be playing some Spurs. I think Randall's in play as a GPP option. What are you doing here with this game?
Yeah, to me, this game is, I think, the one that I might actually end up having the most exposure to, depending on what kind of news breaks. This slate so far is like completely newsless. Through 3 games, you almost never see that. We're not really waiting on anything, I don't think, except for there is some rumors, I guess. I saw them on Twitter that the Knicks Thibodeau could change up the starting lineup. They're obviously going through that a little bit already, right? Kimball Walker says he refuses to come off the bench. So now he's just out of the rotation. Now they're saying they could shake up the lineup further. And we have seen Randall's playmaking responsibilities tick up a little bit dramatically, frankly, in the last 3 games, ever since Kemba's been benched, because they're starting Alec Burks at the point. He's more of a scorer than a distributor. So Randall averaging 5 assists per game on the season. Last 3 games has been 8, 6, and 8. In the last game that the Knicks played, Randall had 16 potential assists. So at that point, you're looking at a guy who could potentially get you 10 plus assists. And then you're talking about maybe a triple-double, right? So we've seen this from Randall from time to time, where to me it looks like the whole Knicks rotation is a little bit in turmoil and not quite figured out right now, except for Randall. And Thibodeau seems to lean on Randall when he has to, or when the rest of the team is struggling or whatever. We've seen it the last 3 games, 3 big games from Randall in a row, and I like him for another one here too. Spurs have a little size with Pirtle on the inside, but they start Keldon Johnson at power forward. I don't think he's going to be able to really slow down Randall. I like when Randall can kind of do his bully ball thing. And I think he's going to have the ball in his hands more often than he typically has this season, as we've seen the last couple of games. So Randall, I think probably my favorite play on the slate. I actually, maybe he goes a little lower owned. I mean, it's hard to say, right, on the 3-game slate, but I think most people, I get the feeling that a lot of people are going to play Durant or Harden or maybe Luka, and Randall maybe falls in no man's land a little bit on DraftKings at 9,100. I like him quite a bit. I think he's got a good chance to be the top scorer on the night. If he beats the 3 Lakers guys and the 3 studs in the Dallas and Brooklyn game, you're going to be sitting in a pretty good spot, right? I think from that point. So Randall, my favorite play in this game and on the slate overall. Beyond that, I'm hoping there's some New York Knicks shakeup in the rotation, right? And maybe another value play opens up, helps steer our teams a little bit, because we're just a little lost on this slate, right? There doesn't seem to be many good edges or plays you really want to play. Randall's one of them for me. And we'll see what else the New York Knicks do. But don't be surprised if we see something a little bit unexpected or strange from the Knicks. I think it's possible in this game. It kind of seems like it from what I've been reading on Twitter about the Knicks.
Yeah, and it's good to bring that up, DC, because that's an hour after that first game, right? So that could mess up your lineup a little bit and some type of flexibility that you can have. So that's worth talking about. Hoop, let me go to you about Alec Burks. He's 6.7, and he's been a lot better. He's been running the point guard. It does feel pricey. Don't get me wrong. It's a hefty tag. He struggled there against Denver. That was a rough game. But, I mean, the games before that, he was crushing it. It's only a 3-game slate. Hoop, what do you think of Alec Burks at that price? Is he overpriced, or is he someone that you would still be considering?
I mean, on the slate, he has 40 fantasy point upside in that 6-7 and on a 3-game slate. I mean, he can definitely pay off that tag and be in the winner. So he's a guy I definitely want exposure to. It's a high ceiling type play. If for some reason they switch up the starting lineup and he's now not in the starting lineup, I would not play him. But as long as he's starting 6.7K, he's got big upside, and that's what you need to win. So I'd be totally fine playing him at 6.7K.
Yep, I think that's a good play there. Hoop, what do you got to do for the likes? I think the people are doing decent. It's 489, 174 likes. Again, 3-game slate. We are going to have the final countdown show with BigT and JSU. That'll be coming up at, I believe, 6:30 Eastern. So you have an hour till that. We're not going to be on for an hour talking that and talking stories from back in the day, like a bunch of boomers in the DFS days. Hoop, what are the likes we got to get to here as we kind of shift over to this last game?
250. 250 is a good number. Get there and get the winners at the end.
All right, let's hit to that 250. We'll give those winners at the end. DC, any final thoughts here you want to have on this game between the Spurs and Knicks?
Not really. I do like the combination. maybe you skip the studs in the Brooklyn Dallas game and go to DeJounte Murray, Julius Randle, right? You get a little bit of a discount there. They play entirely different positions. So, they don't have to, they're not going to, one doesn't need to get them, they're in foul trouble or whatever. And if this game stays close, yeah, I could see that working out. Maybe a little bit way to get a little bit different. Ownership, I think, is really hard to project on this slate. So I'm not less worried about that and more just trying to think about ways to get a little bit of correlation. Randall, Murray, double stud stack in this game, I think could work out.
All right, Hoop, we'll shift over to you and talk about this next game. Before we do that, I want to ask you a question. Christmas time's coming up. When is Christmas music allowed, right? That's always the topic of debate right now. Is the wife blasting Christmas music throughout the house with the kids? Is that something that Hoop has to tolerate?
No, we're not really a Christmas music type of family. Like sometimes in the car, the kids want to listen to it, so we put it on, but it's not like blaring through the speakers in Hoop's household. But I think general rule is what, like after Thanksgiving, you can kind of, the people that do it like after Halloween, that's like crazy to me. Well, after Thanksgiving, I think it is acceptable.
DC, how about you? Is the lady blasting Christmas music around the house? Have you visited Christmas lights yet? Has that been checked off the list for the this time?
No, DC's not going on any rides to look at Christmas lights. That's something that's not going to be happening for the DC man.
Continue.
But yes, the girlfriend really does enjoy the holiday season. Like as soon as she, apparently not a big Thanksgiving fan, but as soon as Halloween ended, it's like straight the Halloween decorations come down, which were up for like 2 months, by the way, and like the Christmas stockings come up, on the fireplace mantle. It's like give it a break. I say you got to get to December before you start putting in the Christmas stuff, Christmas lights. But it is what it is. Yeah, you don't want to fight these battles. I don't really care that much.
It's one you just let go and move on. That's a good point. The
truth is, I don't really give a shit how the house is decorated. It's whatever. I got my screens and watch sports. You can put whatever you want on the walls. It's all good.
It's about the balance, DC. And I'll say this.
That's why I got two like ring-looking decorations behind me, because you know what? I really don't give a fuck what goes on the wall or on the table.
Rings, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to fight you on the stockings on the fireplace mantle. This doesn't affect me. I just let it go. It's all good.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, I have bad news. I've seen Christmas lights this year, but it was because I went to go get pizza, right? And I show up and they say, oh, it's not going to be ready for 20 to 25 minutes. And I was sitting there. I said, I have no service here. So let me drive around. And my service sucks here, DC. I'm still not used to it. So I drove around and I was like, oh, there's Christmas lights. Let's look at those. Because I had nothing better to do.
Let's look at those.
I literally had nothing better to do.
Somewhat of a bizarre story. I don't know if I totally buy it, but all right.
I'm telling you, it was awful. It was. I gave it up.
Let's look at those.
It was terrible.
Where are you going to get pizza? You don't have service. Like what?
I don't know that. Well, first of all, there's no. As someone from New Jersey, there's no good pizza here, which is not.
That is true. I
hit up the Domino's. I wanted to be quick and efficient. It was before the final, right? The final was on Saturday. I said, let me just grab something quick. I also didn't want to be leaving the house the next day, so I was like, I have leftover food in the fridge, right? That was like the right call. I don't want to be like, who knows if there's some kind of crazy swaps that have to go on, or I don't know. Don't want to deal with it.
There's a few good restaurants in the Denver area, but it's not a place known for its food in general. It's really not. Yeah, I was talking with Levitan. He was complaining about that from Philly. They got some good food out there, but here in Denver, it's not the greatest.
Yeah, that's the one thing I definitely miss. The East Coast with some very, very good food, and here it's just okay. But what can you do? Let's head on over to the last game. The likes are doing well. We're at 215, and let's keep this thing moving. And let's talk about the Lakers and the Celtics, which, man, if you tell your grandfather, hey, Lakers Celtics, he's like, oh, it was a great game. You know what I mean? From back in the day, but these are not the same guys. They have some stars, right? LeBron, Tatum, Westbrook, and Davis, but this game is not as exciting as it maybe used to be back in the day or back in the finals when they competed. So I think I am going to like playing some guys in here, mainly because of DFS, because there are guys out. Jaylen Brown is out, and that's good for Dennis Schroeder. And it is a Dennis Schroeder revenge game. And it's not just any revenge game. It's hey, he could have had a nice little contract with the Lakers, and now he's out there playing with the Celtics for a lot less money. So not only did they just say no to him, but they messed with his money. And Hoop, when someone messes with your money, like, ooh, revenge is lurking. I think it's a good Dennis Schroeder spot. Got to be a good Jason Tatum spot as well. He loves playing in this place. I also think Marcus Smart is not a bad guy to mix in because the Lakers are just bad defensively. So, Hoop, break it down for me. How are you handling this Celtics and Lakers game?
Yeah, I guess it's like the one piece of pretty significant news on the slate, Jaylen Brown being ruled out. Big boost to obviously a lot of guys. Schroeder's at the top of the list. Tatum's not far behind him, and neither is Marcus Smart. I think all three of those strong options on the slate. Josh Richardson, I think overall has been pretty disappointing, but he's 3.5K, should play probably 25 minutes here in this spot. I think he's a fine value option. Oh, and it's Freedom. It officially got the name change on the sites now, huh?
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. Mr. Freedom is 3.4K. Wow. Okay. But yeah, I mean, the Celtics are going to be a pretty appealing team on the slate because Brown has been ruled out. So you're going to be looking here for sure. And then on the Lakers side, it's just the same story. Even on a 3-game slate, it's tough with all these guys active. I mean, maybe LeBron's 9-9. Anthony Davis is 10-2. And I don't know. I don't know. I just prefer the other studs on the slate. I think there's just a more direct path to those guys kind of going off than these. Dwight Howard at 3.8K is, I think, a fine option too. Center's actually pretty deep. We have some good center options tonight. So yeah, I don't mind Howard at 3.8, but in terms of Lakers, I just prefer the other studs on the slate over those guys. Now, if I build a lineup and it feels great, and I have 9.9K left, and I can play LeBron, I'd probably just do it. But just a slate with not much conviction for me. Like wherever I end, in terms of the guys, the spend ups, I'm fine just playing them. I'm not going to really build around them, I think. So Lakers just tough team for DFS at this point, but the Celtics, good spot without Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, definitely a good spot for these Celtics without Jaylen Brown. DC, we got K Fallick in the chat. And listen, we're not as rich as K Fallick. I mean, he says Denver has some great fine establishments. Now, DC, I haven't even been into the city of Denver yet, so I don't know. Maybe there is a fine establishment that K Fallick can tell me about, but he probably goes to $1,000, even $10,000 type dinners. I don't know. Can we afford those K Fallick type dinners that he probably goes to?
Well, who used to be able to afford them, but then he bought all the DK NFTs. So no more fancy dinners for hoop. My two favorite places I've been doing Denver. Garden Grace for steak is a place downtown Denver. And then there's two of these locations. Esther's Pizza. That's the best pizza you're going to find in the Denver area. So there you go, Mangone. And I'm sure K Fallick, food connoisseur that he is, has experienced both places. Going back to basketball, yeah, this Boston LA game. I mean, I think you're going to see, in my opinion, listen, Schroeder's a good play. I think he could potentially be over-owned here, coming off a 52-point fantasy game. People see Jaylen Brown out. I get it, but they still have a lot of guys that can score. Tatum, both centers are healthy. Horford and Robert Williams. You got Marcus Smart there. So I get the revenge factor, but I don't think Schroeder is the lock that the people, frankly, in our own Discord have been talking about Schroeder all day, which makes me think that maybe he's going to be very, very highly owned. 6,400. At that point, you need what? I mean, 35 plus probably. I don't think that's a certain thing. So maybe I'll make that fade and look elsewhere. The value here in this game is tough to find. At least in my opinion, I don't mind the Dwight Howard call. It's just, of course, the Lakers, their two centers are freaking DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard. Come on, it's just two just stiffs, and this Lakers team, honestly, not my favorite to watch, despite all the quote unquote star power that they got. Just guys kind of on the decline a little bit, in my opinion. So we'll see. But yeah, Howard, you got to find some value somewhere, and Howard, I think, could get it done. Seen some chatter about Malik Monk back to back. Actually, 4 out of his last 5 games, he's been 30 plus fantasy points. I'm not a big Malik Monk believer because he's just primarily a shooter on a team full of scorers, right? I mean, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony. I just have a hard time believing Malik Monk's going to pick it up. But listen, 4 out of 5 games over 30 fantasy points for 4,400 on this slate. I think you got to at least consider it. So yeah, he's the guy I'm looking at, but I don't know. I don't see many plays here that get me real excited, to be honest.
All right, Hoop. Let's talk about a couple more plays. So the chat's got some interesting comments. Is Al Horford too expensive? You've played some Al Horford this year, and I think you've done a good job with him. So talk about Al Horford if he's too expensive, and then Rajon Rondo revenge. I mean, Hoop, is it Rajon revenge season for you?
Definitely no Rondo. I can't imagine clicking that name.
I knocked that one out quickly.
Yeah, we'll get that out of the way. In terms of Horford, yeah, I mean, he's a option without Jaylen Brown. I mean, he died at when one main dude's out, like he kind of steps in and has these big games. I mean, 47 last game against Utah, 35 a couple games ago. Like, I think he's a fine option at 7.1K, but like when ranking the Celtics, he's probably like my 5th favorite. Wouldn't cross him off though. If like you're MMEing, if you're making 150, I'd definitely keep him in the player pool. He's got upside, 40, 45 fantasy point upside. So I think he's the worst play in the world, but just not my favorite on the Celtics side.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm struggling here, and this is why. And I'm going to stall a little bit because there's 235 likes and we got to get to 250, and I want to pull the plug, but I also want to watch you two try and pick a play of the day. Like, you guys are not loving this slate. And of course it's an interesting one. So this is your last chance to push it home and get it done. Cause if not, we're going to get out of here. And I got a couple I could give. I can muster up one or two. So I'm going to go last if we get to those plays of the day. But DC, before we get on out of here, give some final thoughts on this slate here for the people and give them that final chance to push those likes home to 250.
Yeah, it's just in my opinion, it's a little bit difficult to find a true edge on this slate. You're going to try to do it anyway. Obviously, you're watching the show. You're either very bored or you are playing DFS. Hopefully, playing DFS tonight. And I think we've got a decent job breaking all the games down. We're not giving our plays of the day away right now, though. So I'm literally just talking in circles.
And we did the chat a favor. You did the chat a favor today.
We pushed it home. I wanted to see you guys do it. I mean, I honestly wanted to pull the plug, but I was like, you know what? I want more. I want to spend a couple more minutes and watch you guys muster up a play on this disgusting slate. And they pushed it good, right? They went 240. I saw it up to 249, then 258. So, they got it home. And we were also going to end it a little earlier. So I wanted to give them at least one last chance for that, at least. So let's move on over to plays of the day. Before we do that, again, subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a ton. And we got the final countdown show coming up with JSU, BigT. It'll be in an hour. So check it out at 6:30 Eastern. So, maybe go grab a nice bite to eat real quick. K Fallick maybe has a nice recommendation for you to go to because he's visited every fine establishment in the nation. So feel free to hit him up on Discord. Ask him, hey, K Fallick, this is where I live, and be like, what's a good, recommendation for somewhere to eat? So K Fallick is willing to do that. And he prefers you to ask too, right around lock, about 10 minutes before. That's when he loves getting those Discord messages. We'll go over to you, Hoop. Kick it off for us first because it's a tough slate. And when it's a tough slate, we got to lean on our parents to get the job done, our rich parents. So give me the rich parents play of the day.
Yeah, it's not the greatest slate. I'm looking for raw points. I'm looking for guys that are playing minutes. I'm looking for guys that are going to be shooting the ball. Going to New York, I'm going with Evan Fournier, still pretty cheap, 4.7K, 36 minutes last time, 33 minutes the game before, 14 shots. Thinking grind out to nice value for us tonight. So give me Evan Fournier as the rich parents play of the day.
All right, there it is. Evan Fournier is the rich parents play of the day. DC, we'll go over to you. Who do you got as your mom's basement play of the day?
Well, let me first say, this was a few weeks ago now, but I built my lineup during the show as we're talking here, and one time the same thing happened. I can't remember how much money it was, 5K or so. Hoop said Eric Bledsoe. I was looking at my last spot. He fit exactly perfectly. And Bledsoe had a big game. I think he put up 30, 35 fantasy
that
points.
Started the upward trend for him. Yeah,
the exact same thing just happened with Fournier. I had $48.
Oh, let's go.
For my utility spot. I didn't know who to play. I was looking at Patty Mills, didn't like it. I actually had Patty Mills in there. Hoop said Evan Fournier. I said, 4,700. Out goes Mills. In comes Fournier. He's going in my lineup for sure.
Let's do it.
So I'm joining the Hoop on the Fournier train. And I'll stay with the same team for my play of the day. Julius Randle. I talked a lot about Knicks kind of changing things up a little bit, but Randall's been kind of the steady Eddie in that lineup, if you will. And his playmaking duties have ticked up recently with the benching of Kemba Walker. It seems like they're going to lean on Randall. I'd like the actually individual matchup for him some here against the Spurs. So Julius Randle, mom's basement play of the day.
All right, I'm gonna put the glasses on for this one because you guys want the winner, right? It's a good one. It's a stud, so don't be mad, but he's gonna be one of the lower on studs. I got a good reasoning behind it too as well. Everyone's paying for Jason Tatum, right? Everyone's paying Porzingis and all these other power forwards. Going all the way up to Kevin Durant. He's gonna be lower owned, and here's
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he's gonna be low owned on this slate, DC.
Yeah.
But here's a sales pitch for you. Let me give it to you. They play a back-to-back. What does Kevin Durant not do? He does not play on the second night of back-to-back as much. He has a little bit this year, but they monitor his minutes. Who do they play tomorrow, Draft G? They play the Houston Rockets. James Harden at Houston, going to probably be playing a little bit more there. You know he's not going to sit that game. So seems like a spot where they can easily sit KD tomorrow on the TNT game. KD goes off against those cement feet big men against the Dallas Mavericks. Yes, I get it. It's a stud, but he is going to be the top scorer on the slate. He's going to be the guy that you need in your lineups. And I'm perfectly fine with saying that. Hoop, is that veto? You can tell me if it's a veto. It's a gross slate, but he's low owned.
Whoa, did you just say it's a gross slate? Did you hear that, DC?
I mean,
did you hear that? Was that a slip?
An hour later.
He was on our side the whole time. He was on our side the whole time. I knew it.
I appreciate he's trying to rally the troops. You know, me and you side on here. We're starting bitching about the slate. First thing we say, and I'll say, no, this is a great slate. Get all excited for it. So, I appreciate it. But the truth does come out in the end. Van Gogh, what do you say? What was the word he used? A gross slate? I believe.
Gross slate.
Pretty much the same words we were using an hour ago. So
I messed up.
It's all right. But to answer your question, we're not going to veto it. I will agree with you. I'm going to agree with Mangone and say it is a gross slate. We don't have veto power on this one. There's just not many good plays. So,
but here's the thing: there's so many stars that are higher owned than them, right? Like I'm telling you, like, hey, like he's going to outscore Tatum, like, and he's going to be better. Like he's going to be your raw points. Like you're going to need those on this slate. You can also play Tatum with them too, as well, which I might do for sure on this slate. So, but he's the stud I want in my lineups. I think it's good to go 2 stud builds today because I don't think you're seeing those as much. You are seeing some, but I think. If you classify Randall and Murray as studs, yes, you're seeing more of those double builds, but you're not seeing going up all the way up to the top to the next one. Obviously, the slate can change. It could change with a Knicks starter in the lineup, right? That could just change things completely. But it is, a really awesome slate. I'm super excited for it, and I can't wait. Should be a fun time. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. We got JSU. We got Big T. They are coming up, and 50 minutes it is now. 50 minutes. And Hoop, can you confirm, is there going to be something special on the show today? I think there was talks about it. I don't know if it's going to happen. Anything you can confirm or deny for me here?
For tomorrow, tomorrow's the day I owe the people.
I was going to say, you said free tickets on Wednesday.
Tomorrow's the day. I will deliver tomorrow.
You got 24 hours. You better get going.
All right. Hoop will, Hoop will give that. People are saying they can see on the glasses my unmade bed. Listen, if you can see it, I just took a nice little nap. I did the old Big T 20-minute nap. I was on the bet show, and then I shifted over. I said, I could probably do something else. But I was like, I'm going to lay in the bed a little bit. I'm going to relax.
You're so excited for this slate that you took a nap before the show.
I put some music on. I sat back. I relaxed. Listen, I lost track of time a little bit. It was 40. I was like, I got to get ready. Got to get on this show. So ready to bring the winners, ready for the screenshots tonight. It's Tuesday. Should be a fun time, but we got to get on out of here. I'm going to go take a quick nap before the next one. We're next show with JSU and Big T. So for me, Mango and Hoop and DC, I'll see you later.